Welcome back to Morning Break and today's Reading Reno segment. We have Kendall Brown here with us to talk about her latest book that's all about helping families navigate new pet ownership. But I want to remind you that this is her second book because her first one right here, 10 Secrets of a Lazy Dog Trainer, is already out, and this has been recognized on a lot of really important lists. How are you feeling about, being recognized by your peers in such a way that this book is helpful for people who have, done dog training before and as well as people who haven't?
It's been really wonderful. Our whole goal was to demystify dog training and to make it, accessible for the average person who doesn't maybe have, like 3 hours a day to dedicate to teaching their dog how to live and thrive in the human world. Because ultimately, right, with more training, you have more freedom, and with more freedom, you can have more fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've all know those people who got a dog and we're kind of like, ooh, I don't know what kind of pet parent you're going to be. And you love the pets, but sometimes they're just like not the most pleasant to be around. And a lot of it does come down to training, which is why it is so important. And it is so important to get the pet that is right for you and your family, which segues into your next book. It is basically like a guide to determining what kind of dog would be right for you.
Yeah, it's essentially a roadmap. No one is born knowing how to select a dog, what temperament would be best for you. Even the breeds nowadays we're seeing in the fourth wave of domesticity, we're selecting dogs and breeds based off friendliness as opposed to selecting them only off their work aptitude. So, like being able to temperament test dogs. In my book, I really wanted to focus first on the person. So there's lots of questions, like what kind of lifestyle do you lead? What are your likes and dislikes? What's your experience level? And then, because I'm a service dog trainer, it all goes back to need before breed. So when you can identify your need, now you can start to decide, like, well, what breeds should I be looking at? Or does breed not matter? Should I be instead looking at rescues, shelters, private party transactions? So a lot of what my husband and I do for our job is to help clients find dogs, temperament test them, kind of teach them the red and green flags, and then help them through the decompression phase when the dog is, just been brought home. How do we communicate effectively? Because like I said before, no one's born knowing this.
Yeah, so. I mean, it is like raising a child. And as someone with a 1-year-old, I am learning that so many new things every day. And I can only imagine how similar these must be to raising a dog, where it's like they don't know. And so many times too, we're like, we think this is the rule today and then it changes tomorrow based on like our mood. And so it's like learning how to be consistent and what are the ones that you actually want to be consistent with. And, again, and every dog responds differently. So learning how to communicate with your dog specifically.
And people are different too, right? Like my husband and I, we've been married for 10 years. We live, breathe, and we're always dog training. But we still train a very slightly different way. And so I think if you have multiple people in your household, you've got kids, you've got multiple dogs, like being aware that each of these different interactions might need to be tailored.
Yeah, and I think one of the things I'd love to expand on just real quickly is temperament testing. I think that's not a term that I'm very familiar with. So can you explain what that is?
Yeah, so temperament testing is a way to ascertain or take our best guess at the core personality of the dog. You can usually temperament test ideally at 7 weeks of age, no younger than 5 weeks of age, and then you can temperament test adult dogs as well. It's essentially a series of tests that we run the dog through to ascertain, and if there's any prey drive. Are they very assertive? Are they going to be more shy? Do they need some additional socialization to people and loud noises? So it's not a fixed, point. Obviously, you can play with this a little bit. You can artificially increase the dog's confidence through appropriate socialization. You can also have dogs from a traumatic history, who have been taught to shut down parts of themselves. But the temperament test gives you a solid foundation that you can then enter your relationship with your dog, with knowledge and with preparation.
I feel like that would be really helpful in like the dating world. That's where my mind went. I mean, obviously I'm already married, you're already married, but a temperament test for dating might come in really handy because everything you're saying there, I'm like,
that person's a low 1.
That person's
a mid 3.
How do we build up that confidence a little bit more? I love it. Well, all of this stuff you have put in not only this book, but also the new one, Let's Get a Dog. And you have 2 more coming out, so we're a little teasing ahead a little bit. So obviously the one there on your screen is the newest one. What are the next 2 books going to be?
So my next one's going to be a memoir collection because my husband and I have been doing this for 10, 12 years at this point. And so we've got some fun stories. But don't worry, I changed all the dogs' names so they wouldn't become embarrassed. And then our next one coming out in fall is going to be about essentially the 10 Secrets book, but a more advanced version, more detailed. And these are going to be the secrets that we use in the service dog world and higher level obedience. So my first one's kind of foundational. You know, anybody can pick it up and read it. My second book should build. You don't need to have read the first to enjoy the advanced version, but keeping the same format. Memoir meets fun.
I love it. Well, Kendall, thank you so much for being here. I will make sure that all of the books on Kendall's repertoire are on our website, colotv.com. So we'll be right back.